Alright, welcome back guys to another video, and what we've got for you today is a Ford Focus ST, and I don't think we've actually had a Ford Focus on the channel before, so been offered this ST, so I thought get it on the channel, and here it is. So yeah, it's basically an ST2 2007 car, and it's completely standard just as it left the factory. And the start actually I'm having to do inside the car today because the heavens have been opened up. You know, we are living in the UK and it is raining this time of the year quite frequently. So yeah, so I hope you enjoy the video guys. Subscribe to our YouTube channel Performance Lifestyles. Check us out on Instagram Performance_Lifestyles, and we're on Facebook as well, Performance Lifestyles. And if you like the video, please do click on the like button. It does help with YouTube analytics things, so yeah, it'll help us grow. So thank you very much, and yeah, seeing as we're already in the car, we'll just crack on with the drive. So when these were first released, I mean, this was the first generation of the ST with a turbocharger, and they were literally, it's a 2.5 litre turbo, and I believe it's a Volvo engine, Duratec 2.5 turbo. But what actually, the power-wise, I won't say they're massively powerful. They're 220 brake horsepower. Now, from a 2.5 litre engine, that's actually quite a. I mean, comparing it to the EP3s, that's actually not massively powerful, but it's actually, they sound fantastic, and that was one of the biggest things about these cars. They were very tunable, and the noise that they made, especially with aftermarket exhausts and intakes, they were just absolutely awesome. The 5-cylinder Burble actually does sound absolutely epic, sounds amazing. But yeah, in standard form you can still hear it, but it's not obviously as emphasized as it is with an exhaust system. So, but yeah, I mean, they were very, very tunable, and the spec on these cars was fairly good as well for an ST2, which is like the basic sort of level sort of car. It comes with like a decent sort of spec. Like I mentioned, it's got Recaro seats, it's got Xenon, bi-Xenon headlights, obviously electrics, aircon, CD changer, CD player, and all the usual stuff. And I mean, in this day and age, it doesn't really make that much of a, that's kind of like basic. Even the basic of the basic cars come with this sort of stuff. But I think these traffic lights are broken. But yeah, but in 2005, I think these released. That was actually quite a big thing to have all of these sort of options, and yeah, they're like I said, they're actually a very, very, very good car. They're not the quickest car out of the box in standard form, I must admit. I've never been a massive fan of the ST as such, but the noise, because I've driven a few of them over the years, and the noise they make is actually very good. And like I mentioned, with an exhaust there, awesome. And the 2.5, like I said, the 2.5 litre engine on these cars is very tunable. As standard, like I mentioned, they're 221 brake horsepower and 240 pounds-feet of torque, which is quite all right sort of figures, torque figures, but with a map, with a bit of a tune, you can easily see way over 300 brake horsepower and 350, 400 pounds-feet of torque, which is quite a decent sort of figure. And to drive, they're actually very, very good, considering it's got 18-inch wheels as standard with low profile tires, and the suspension on it is semi sort of firm. They actually drive quite nice. They're a very heavy car. They weigh around 1,370 odd kilos. Now, in comparison to the EP3, which is only just over 1,200 kilos, that's 150 to 60 kilos extra, and it makes a difference. You can actually feel it in the actual drive of the car. They are a very heavy and a bulky sort of car to drive, and like I mentioned, you can feel that through the steering wheel. You can actually feel that with the throttle. They're not as lively and as sharp as you'd expect them to be, with it being a ST sort of car. But again, once they get going, they're actually very good, and alongside it you obviously get that 5-cylinder Burble coming out, and it sounds very, very nice. 0 to 60 times, again, they're probably around 6.5 to 7 seconds. Ooh, it's a smashed up car there. 6.5 to 7 seconds, and top speed they will do over 150 miles per hour. And again, like I mentioned, from 2005 sort of era, they're actually very good figures. Nowadays it's kind of like 150, oh wow, big deal. But in them days, it was actually a very big deal. But if you're in the market for an ST of any of the 2.5 turbos, they did, some of them, not all of them, but some of them did suffer from cracked liners. So a lot of them that you see advertised have had the block mod done, which is generally, I'd say, is the slightly higher mileage cars. Lower mileage ones generally didn't suffer from a great deal of problems, but the higher mileage, 80, 90,000 mile sort of cars, if they've not been done, it's not the end of the world, but just be mindful that it probably may need doing at some point in the future. So, but the telltale signs are, if you're looking to buy one, try and see it on cold, open the water cap and just make sure there's, even on a cold thingy, there shouldn't be any or a lot of pressure in the expansion tank. So just make sure there's no pressure when you open it, there's not a lot of hissing going on. And obviously underneath the cap, make sure smell the thing, make sure it doesn't smell of any fumes or any fuel or petrol, or it should just be coolant sort of smell. The next thing is obviously you just check to make sure there's no mayo-y stuff underneath the oil cap, which is another big thing. So just make sure there's none of that. And the other real check that you can actually do is, from a cold start, is start it up, make sure there's not a lot of condensation as such coming out of the exhaust. I know winter months you will see some, but a little bit is fine. But if it's excessive and stuff, then there's going to be some issues of mixing and stuff. So just be mindful of that. And honestly, than that, there's not a great deal. There's your usual wear and tear items. They're a heavy car, especially front end heavy, so you will get generally drive shafts and bushes and stuff like that going. And apparently drive shafts on these cars are quite weak, but again, this one drives perfectly squeak, knock, rattle free, so I'm sure most of them will be like that. So just check out the usual sort of checks, and I'm sure you will enjoy your Focus ST ownership. So yeah, but honestly, they're a very good car. So if you're in the market for one, get one now and get a low mileage one, because they are good, decent sort of things with a well spec. Now these do actually come in a ST3 spec as well, which is practically the same thing, but it has leather interior, heated seats, and I believe keyless entry. Now this is a conventional, you press the button, unlock the car, push the key in the ignition, whereas the keyless entry ones do come with keyless entry, just as it says on the tin. But yeah, I mean, if I was to open it up a bit, we'll drop a couple of gears and disappear, but probably not. They've got these gauges on the dashboard as well. You can hear that 5-cylinder rumble, and it does sound very, very good. They're not the best handling car on the road, but they sound very good. And when they get going, it's like they're about to take off. They're just a very heavy car, so they take a bit of used to getting going, but once they're on the move, oh, they sound good, they drive good. At the end of the day, it is a Ford Focus, so they drive just as well as a normal Ford Focus does, but with a bit more power and a way better noise, and even more so with an exhaust on. And like I said, this is a completely standard car, so you won't get any of the pops and bangs and nothing like that. Just an exhaust on one of these cars actually creates that burble, and it makes them, like pop and bang and stuff, and it sounds very good. So here we go, off the mark. This is what I mean about the power. They're very heavy cars, so naturally you don't feel they're going as quick as they are, unless they're obviously silly sort of power levels. And once they're mapped and they've had a bit of a tune and a bit of a exhaust whisk, the noise psychologically makes you think they're going quicker than they are as well. But even in a standard car, that 5-pot rumble sounds absolutely amazing. A lot of people back in the days compared them to when the RS3s first came out, the AP RS3. I mean, the noise that is, not the actual car. They were 4-wheel drive and automatics, and they were very quick and they felt quick, whereas these don't quite have the same thing. But the noise, on the noise side of things, people did compare them to an RS3, and an RS3, as you know, they're everywhere. Literally, they've they're all over the internet, they're all over, a lot of people have had them, and you know, they are fantastic cars, and they've really kept their values high as well, purely based on the fact that they are very popular and very good cars. And but yeah, these things, again, like I mentioned, these things are holding good money at the minute as well. So with a very good spec, you know, an ST3 will be perfect, mapped up and stuff, because an RS out, Focus RS at the moment is going to cost you north of 22,000 pounds for a decent example, which is HPI clear and, you know, full service history and no problems. And you know, these cars currently do suffer from quite a few little issues, not quite a few, but they've got their fair share of common problems. Bearing in mind they are, you know, 2015, they're 17 years old now, so they will have a few of these little issues. Now these obviously also came in an RS range, like the Focus RS, which I'm sure most of the viewers have come across at some point, have been in, driven or whatever. And now they were a completely different car. They looked so much more aggressive, the bumpers were different, the big spoiler on the back, but the way they drove was very similar to one of these. Obviously it is still a 2.5 turbo, and they're very comfortable in the sense that you don't feel the speed you're doing, if you understand what I'm saying. Certain cars just drive like that. You don't think you're going so quick until you look down and you think, okay, I'm at the speed limit now, so I better slow down or maintain. But this is one of them cars. They literally just do that. And it's a 6-speed manual gearbox. They only ever made them in a manual as well. 2.5 turbo, 6-speed manual gearbox, a very tunable engine, perfect driving position, perfect, very nice gear changes. They are just an overall very good car, hence why they were so popular. I know the predecessor, the ST170, was 170 brake horsepower, so when the ST initially came out, ST2 form and ST2, ST3, the 225 horsepower, 220 odd horsepower, everybody was like, oh wow, this is going to be actually quite a good thing, and it was quite a big thing in them days. Right then folks, I'm going to conclude the video now. I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Like I mentioned, I got offered this car, thought get it on the channel. I do quite like the ST. Wasn't a massive fan of them, but I do like the noise they made. The 2.5 turbo engine is very good. Oh, that's nice. MX-5, not a big fan of MX-5s, but that was quite nice. But yeah, they actually do sound quite nice. They sound good, and they're very tunable cars. So if you're looking at get one. And yeah, like I said, I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Performance Lifestyles. Check us out on Instagram, performance_lifestyles, and we're on Facebook as well, Performance Lifestyles. And if you like the video, please do click on the like button and share the video. And if you'd like your car featured on the channel, drop us an email, pflifestyle@hotmail.com, and we will be more than happy to accommodate. But this is it for this week. So I hope you enjoyed the video, guys, and as per usual, stay safe, and we will catch you on the next video.